Also, did you know if you have Amazon Prime, you can sub to GDQ for free with Twitch Prime, and all the proceeds go to kick cancer's butt? Good luck, runners. All right, well, Halkingard, just as the official voice here on the mic, I just wanted to mention, details-wise, it is just the sub-revenue for January to the Games Done Quick channel we will be donating, just so everybody's clear on that. And now, without further ado, it is time. We have the Moon Crash DLC run of Prey by bloodthunder.
Hey everyone, my name is bloodthunder. I'll be running Prey's Moon Crash DLC, which came out late June. And I have a very special guest on couch if she wants to introduce herself and say what she does.
Sure, my name is Abigail Tyson. I'm the community manager for Prey Moon Crash. I'm here to see bloodthunder do his thing.
So Bethesda's been doing a pretty long stream now, Moon Crash Mondays, where every Monday they played a little bit through the game, about an hour, 2 hours a week. And we're gonna do it a little faster this week, so.
God, I hope so.
So we gotta load in and then time will start there. So this is a little different than the base game of Prey. In the base game of Prey, you have a pretty linear story. And 3, 2, 1, go. So like I said, it's a little different. In this, we have 27 different Chasma orders that we have to complete, so it's pretty non-linear. We're also going inside a simulation, which is very Prey-like, where we're given 5 different characters to complete 5 different escapes and do those 27 orders across those 5 characters, and it gets a little crazy. This is the satellite, which is kind of our main area where they give us story updates, and it's pretty cool. You can play some basketball. One of my favorite things to do while waiting.
You've gotten very good at this.
Yeah, I have a lot of time.
I don't think I've made a single basket. That's fine, that's not embarrassing.
Usually I don't try to do this, but some people on my streams like it.
You don't even try to do it, and you do it well.
I'm trying to find, where'd the doll go? Just went away. Well, usually, a little spoiler, but at the end of the game, you may see that toy pop up again, so we like to kind of torture it in the beginning of the run by throwing it under some water, but it just disappeared, so.
Bloodthunder. I disapprove,
Well,
kind of.
it got away. So right now, it's going to give us things that we need to enter the simulation, the operator and the visor, and then after that, things get a little crazy.
You're already going faster than we did.
Yeah, I'm sad Clint couldn't be here for this, but
Me too.
you know, he's probably playing at home, getting some work done.
I think he's watching and is sad that he's not here.
So anytime we go into this chair, we'll be going to a new menu, which is where we can pick our 5 characters. We're given 1 off the start. You have to unlock the other 4 through different objectives. We're just gonna spam through here. So it kind of treats this first character, Andreas, as a tutorial to teach you all about the moon base that you're going into, kind of the areas and the idea of escaping. We don't do most of that, as we'll find out here in just a second. It's gonna look very different.
I am so excited to see you do this.
There we go. So now we're loading up as Andreas. We're gonna pick up some fabrication plans. There we go. We're also gonna get a wrench and a key card. Whoop. And we're gonna lock the doors so that mimics don't come after us. They're gonna stay in that room. And then all we have to do is get this chair to stay up on this light. It's very tricky, but there we go, first try.
Nice.
And now we're on the moon.
What? What did you do?
It gets a little worse.
No, don't say that.
Hopefully I can line this up just right. No one in the community really knows why this works, it just kind of does. And we're thankful for that, if I can.
Yeah, me neither.
A couple of tries here. So running's a little slow.
Well, you are on the moon.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool, but we've been here before.
You or just humanity in general?
First one, then the other.
That's fair.
It kind of worked. It's not the best you can do, but, you know, we'll take it. We have plenty of time. So this is the moon. It's pretty nice.
Is that the moon?
This part isn't. So what we're doing now is, because it treats this area like a tutorial, it's corrupted the 3 other areas besides just the main crater. So you have Pythes Labs, Moonworks, and Kuranex, which are all corrupted right now. But because we clipped out with the chair, we can clip into these areas that we're not supposed to get to. Right now, we're just supposed to go to the escape pod, which is about there. You can't really see it. And, where we're going right now is to Pythes Labs to unlock Riley, which is another character. And then we're going to be looking for 2 other bodies to go pick up, which will unlock a 3rd character, VJ, and the shuttle escape, which is just another means escape. Hey, there we are.
That's a terrifying sentence out of context. Picking up how many bodies?
I mean, let's pray for it. Let's go around picking up bodies.
That's true.
So we're just gonna jump in here. Unfortunately, this means we also can't get out of these areas unless we clip out, which used to be a pretty big part of the route early on. But just last week, we found out something that we thought soft lock at the beginning no longer does. So we can go a little faster, play things a little riskier. So at the bottom of the screen, you're gonna see a white bar slowly going down. That's our stamina. And if you jump, there you go. Or if you slide, you can extend how much stamina you get to use, because it won't use it up, but you get to keep the speed. So if you see me sliding a lot, it's because I don't want to run out of stamina. So all we have to do is come up here and check this terminal, which is going to tell us exactly what we need to know.
Please report to the labs for collectome update.
It's going to be looking for VJ, who's in Pythes, he's down there. And then Angela's at Moonworks.
You know, I thought I was ready for this. I wasn't. This is awesome.
So there's 96 different combinations of spawns between those 2. Most of them are pretty average. There's some really bad ones, and then there's some really good ones. So we got a pretty average one. Here we're just looking for some items, mainly chipsets and fabrication plans, which allow us to then bring things into the simulation. Ooh, that's a really good look. So this is Riley's office, and this is our next character we get. She's pretty cool.
She's complicated. She's got a lot going on.
Yeah, some people love her, some people hate her, but I think she's pretty all right.
You are straight in the middle there. She's fine. I love her. I'm biased.
So we're gonna have to go back downstairs to get VJ. And then we're going to go over to Moonworks to pick up Angela, and then over to Kuranex for the escape. Trying not to die along the way. So a lot of people usually wonder what kind of difficulty we run games on. I don't know if you want to explain the corruption system in this and how it changes over time.
Yeah, so the longer you are in the simulation, the more corrupted it gets, which tracks in real life, I think. So the longer it takes for you to complete as many orders as you want to in a single run, the higher your corruption level will go. And once you get to higher levels of corruption, the enemies are harder. There are more issues in various areas of the moon. For example, things could be on fire now, or things are flooded and they are causing you issues because you suddenly cannot get to the room that you kind of thought was going to be really easy to get to. So you really want to try to go fast. In this case, very fast, but normally also very quickly, because you really don't want those corruption levels to creep up on you.
Right, and we actually don't have corruption because it's still the tutorial phase, so we're trying to get as much done as we possibly can. Even later on, it doesn't matter too much for us, but it's just kind of nice not to worry about it. In that room, I was scanning 2 Typhon. You eventually need to scan 5 for an order. You have to scan a Weaver at some point for Phantom Genesis 2, which is a ability that Riley needs for her escape. And then we're just going to grab an extra while it's there. So now we're going to go over to Moonworks and see where Angela spawns. Once again, she has 4 spawns in this area, 12, or she has 8 total. 4 here, and then 4 over in Pythias. So depending on where she is, it can save or lose time. And this is somewhat randomized, the whole game, to an extent. It's not completely randomized. If you go through a door, you know it's going to be on the other side. But what you don't know is what enemies you might get, the body spawns you might get,
The hazards.
what can be in containers. So she's actually in a really nice spot. Very easy to pick up.
Co-director of research aboard Talos 1.
Okay.
As I sit here, comfortably aboard the greatest technology.
So her body gives us, a fabrication plane for neuromods, which you use to install abilities with, which we'll do here in just a minute.
The sustaining efforts of our siblings.
Right now, we're just going to go ahead and get out of here, take the tram. And she also gives us the shuttle escape ability, which you need to use a neuromod for. So it didn't happen in this run, but even if she's in Pythias and you never have to come to Moonworks, we still do anyways here, because it's going to give us 5,000 sim points, which you just saw on the bottom left. And those sim points are very important because that is what you use to buy stuff for the next character. So if you can get a whole lot of sim points early, you can get some neuromods, just really clean up some objectives.
And if you don't let other people play your game and waste all of your sim points on things that they thought they needed but they don't really need, then everything's much easier for you.
Yeah, that seems like a common problem on Moon Crash Mondays.
It was bad. The amount of times I'd come in after a Monday and someone else hosted and they'd be like, so I wasted all of your sim points. I'm like, that's not a casual thing to say to me. That's terrible.
So that was some mimic hiding, stopping the Typhon Gate from opening, which Typhon Gates, if there's any Typhon around, will just stay closed, and you can either EMP them to get them open, or you can kill everything. EMP is much faster. So once again, we're just kind of looking for some fabrication plans and chipsets, which we just got some good ones. At this point, we're going to go ahead and install all these neuromods, so I'm going to get the shuttle escape. This isn't fun to watch.
Yeah, it is.
And because we already have 6 more neuromods, we're just going to go ahead and spend them. There's nothing we really need for Andreas. Other characters are much more important with what you buy. So we're going to do those and then get on out of here.
Well, that was faster than we did it.
So that completes about 6 objectives, depending on how the fabrications and chipsets played out. I don't think we got enough for those. So probably just 5 or 6 there, out of the 27 we have to do. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and reset the simulation, although we have other characters. And that's just because of the way it works out with how we want to complete chasm orders and people escaping at certain times. So I'm going to buy her a pistol, some ammo. We're going to buy just 2 of those, I believe. I actually do have notes, which I can show off here in a second, but yeah, it's good enough. So there's a lot of things that can change based on what you get, and I've routed this to be pretty safe, and I know what I need going in with every character, but that's kind of what it looks like. And if things change, you know, you can take less. I also have 6 pages of detailed notes, which I won't be going over. But it's a very complicated run to kind of get into, intimidating, but it's not too bad after a while.
We probably should have had notes. That's a really good idea.
So now that we reset the simulation, we have to pick up the key card again. The mimics actually don't show up, so you don't need to lock that door. But we need to do this little trick again. So now you'll see the corruption in the top right. It will start ticking up the longer we're in here. Ooh. Almost fell off. Okay. So this time we're just going to run over because it's closer.
What?
Moon's so peaceful. Get some nice ambient music. There's no one around. So if you do a slide, it's usually only worthwhile to do it over to Pythias, which is what we tried to do earlier, which can get you pretty close. For the most part, it's typically faster just to run over, or if you have propulsion, you can use that. So all Joan's going to come in to do is kind of make sure that there's anti-rads somewhere on the map, because we're going to need them for VJ here in just a second for his escape. There's something else that we typically do, which I'm going to do a little bit of, but because we got the fabrication plan for control modules earlier, we really don't need to. Just going to run past that mimic.
And it was like, where are you going?
So the escape pod navigation chip, which is on that table, and the control module are hard spawned on the map. They'll be there every time, which is really nice. And typically you would reverse engineer the control module to bring in later, but we already got the fabrication plan, so we don't need to do that. Okay. So we got some bad luck there. Just wants to hide. There we go. So we got bad luck, and we have to go find a trauma center. So we'll see where that is real quick. All right, so we can go to Python Labs. There's 4 rooms on the map, 1 in each area, which can be a different room. There's always going to be 2 trauma centers in a simulation. There's an engineering annex, and I think a supply closet is the 4th. So just depending on where that is, you'll have to go either open it, find a key card, or repair it, which is why we bring in Joanne. She has a repairing ability. Every character has kind of their own unique abilities. Andreas is more Typhon. Joan is more repairing and just being an engineer. Just gotta wait on this ramp to show up. So as far as like losing time goes, this may not even be necessary, because we might find random anti-rads when we come in with VJ anyways. But this is one of those things where you want to make sure you have it, especially in a marathon run, because if you don't, then your run's pretty much over.
Oh, that's not good.
No.
You don't want that.
So we'll just see where whether this is closed or if it needs a key card. Let's run past all this stuff again. All right, so we actually do need to repair it, which is good. So we can do that. Grab the anti-rads. And we'll have to do this again a second time, but we actually need anti-rads with Joan at that point. So it really won't matter. Whoop. Those tentacle nests always scare me.
They are horrifying.
Yeah, they just chase you down for no reason. So we're actually just going to drop these, which seems really weird, especially since we need them. But at this point, we don't have the operator, which we get pretty soon. That'll let you transfer items between characters in different runs. So we're just going to drop them, and when we come into VJ, if we need to come get them, we can just pick them up there. So Joan's pretty much done on her first attempt. All we have to do is go to the shuttle, which is where we escaped with Andreas. And each character has their own preferred escape method, which the shuttle is hers. So this is going to unlock her story, which we'll have to come back in later and do. And just complete some more objectives.
I like the idea of characters preferring to escape the moon in specific ways.
Yes.
Like, you guys do it that way, but I'm really cool and I do it this way.
Some of them are kind of strange, but you know.
A little bit.
Once again, we're just going to check for fabrication plans, neuromods, that kind of stuff. Nope, nothing there. Okay. So we're just going to spend our neuromod if we can, which we can't. So at this point, we're just going to leave. It's going to look very familiar.
Well, again, much faster than we did. We did that maybe like 2 months after we got the first one done.
It was an entertaining journey to watch along with.
Thank goodness. Because we were just embarrassed.
It's also one of those things where if you take a break from it, you may kind of forget what you're doing, and coming back to it can be a little challenging.
I like how many outs you're giving me. Yes, we'll go with that.
Okay, so he actually doesn't need a whole lot. Let me go back. Grab that real quick. But like I said, because we didn't have to buy extra neuromods with Joan, we can afford to bring in some extra with VJ, which allows him to get mobility 1 and just move faster, which is really nice. We also got the advanced propulsion chip, which is pretty much the only chipset we really care about in this run, because it lets you go extremely fast. It's a little crazy.
A little bit. A little bit crazy.
Just a little bit. So I usually actually forget to install these, which is not good. Make sure I do that. So luckily the chairs are already up here. We've seen this a lot.
It's jarring every time.
There we go. So VJ actually comes with the propulsion system, which is really nice. It'd be great if every character had it, but unfortunately they don't. If you find a propulsion fabrication plan along the way, that's a much nicer run to deal with. Makes it a lot of falls safe. There's no fall damage in the crater area, which we're in now. Once you go inside, unfortunately, that gravity causes fall damage, which leads to some pretty horrifying sounds if you end up breaking your legs.
People really didn't like that on the stream because we broke our legs a lot. People were like,
Yeah.
"You mute?" It's like, no, you listen to the squelches. Yeah, I know, it's gross.
Every time I end up doing it in a run, I have to think it's Moonshark eating some potato chips. It's the only way I get by.
I mean, yeah.
So even though we have anti-rads, we're going to kind of check some spawns where they can show up, just because it's a little faster to get them here. We also need 5 drinks, and we need 5 things of food. So we picked up, oh, there we go.
I'm having
Perfect.
terrible flashbacks right now.
So we actually just got some anti-rads, which is really nice. It means we don't have to go over to Pythes Labs after all. We can just stay here. But the 3 drinks I picked up earlier are hard spawned in, which is cool. And then we go over to the break room where we can get the rest of the drinks and all the food. We're gonna keep kind of looting just a little bit. It's nice to get the fabrication and chipset Chasma orders out of the way, because it'll kind of change when you get certain cutscenes on the satellite, which we'll get one after this. Got a whole bunch there. Okay, so now we're ready to escape. And this is one of my least favorite escapes to do. Just
Why do you say that?
Mainly because you have to climb to the top.
Oh, okay.
That can be,
I thought maybe it's for an emotional reason.
no, that might be the escape pod.
Oh, well, yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
So what we're doing is the mass driver escape, which is basically just a giant cannon that's going to shoot us off into space, which is great. So we actually don't really have a means of doing EMP right now, so we're just going to go through this broken window.
This isn't gonna work.
This character has one of the best out-of-context dialogues in the game.
I've calibrated the match
He does.
within the human range of tolerance.
I don't know if GDQ wants me to say it, so I probably won't. But.
We're not clowns in a circus tent. Hey, what if those Harry? You cannot lose your shit on me right now, okay?
Oh, well, we got broken bones, which is nice.
Munch, 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 munch.
Fortunately, we don't have to listen to it for too long.
Your ass is home, and you're gonna kiss your wife and your kids.
So I'm just going to go ahead and put away
It's gonna work out just. All right.
the food and drink, the anti-rad. Just going to go ahead and send us off into space. So once again, this is his preferred method, which is why we kind of rushed to get VJ done first. But we didn't bring Joan in for a safety aspect. The reason we rushed VJ into his story is because that's the way you unlock the 5th character, which is Claire. And once you get the 5th character, this is really loud. I love watching this guy just float around.
Yeah?
So this should actually pull us back out into a cutscene. There we go. Which kind of gives us some more updates. The more Chasma orders you complete, the more of the story you get to listen to. We actually skipped over one with the intro, just the way we escaped. If you go through the escape pod, then you would have come back right after Andreas in the beginning. I also like this because it assumes that you've died at this point, which hasn't really happened. We're just gonna work out a little bit.
Also, I just like this phrase, don't let the virtual deaths get you down. I like it out of context.
Yeah.
I sent it to your workstation. Basilisk out.
So we actually don't need to do anything here. There are cutscenes later where we have to repair certain things on the satellite, which will then kind of change the way the simulation works. Most of these kind of upgrade the simulation to be a little harder, make things a little random. And this one actually does, but it's not too bad yet. So once again, we're gonna wipe the simulation clean and bring in Joan. But this time, instead of using the anti-rads for VJ, we're gonna use her. So I actually need to bring in 7 pistols. Well, I lied. This is one of the more important characters to not forget anything with. Because at this point, we're gonna go for the 5-man escape. So we're gonna do all 5 characters' escapes in one run. And if you forget to do something of this first character and you get to the final stage, you just wasted 5 characters worth of time, which is not good, so.
Oh no, that isn't good. It's not like anyone has done that on stream before.
This is usually the chasm order you go for last or near the end. But with the way the route works at this time, it just makes sense to go for it first. And there's actually been a whole bunch of different routes. Every runner pretty much has their own way of dealing with things, which characters they want to bring in first. We're kind of getting to a point where that's not the case anymore, mainly with the stuff that was found a week ago with the soft lock, but for a long time it's been pretty crazy to watch people run because they handle things in different ways. That's just going to roll off.
That stool is being a ass.
Yeah, if only this light was a little bit wider, it wouldn't be too bad, but at this point we're also going to check whether the tram is down, which is indicated by the red line. So it's over in Pythias, which is really good luck. Because of the last cutscene, ooh, come back here.
You get back here.
There we go. So we're gonna try this slide again, see if we can get it. That's really cool. And actually speeds things up pretty significantly. So because of the last cutscene, the tram will start going down every time you leave the simulation and come back in. So if you go to the satellite for another cutscene, it'll go down. Or if you restart the simulation, it'll go down, all that fun stuff.
How long have you been practicing this route?
I mean, this route changed last week, but before that, it's pretty much been pretty close to this for 3 months or so.
That's nuts.
It's not one.
Our bodies never do what we want them to do.
It really doesn't want to slide today. There we go.
Oh my God.
At least we get to show it off. Took a while, but we got there.
Totally worth it. You could have done that for like another 6 minutes and it would have been worth it.
I hope once we actually get a base on the moon, we can live there. We'll see people just sliding around like that a whole lot. So depending on where the tram goes down affects where you go. And we got Pythias, so we can actually come over and do one of the big things we need to do with Joan. If you get Koreanix, you can also do her story mission first. If you get Moonworks, you're just kind of you're out of luck. You have to run through Moonworks, repair the tram, and then take it over somewhere else. But we're gonna go in and set up the 5th character's escape, which we'll get to like half an hour. One important thing I need to do, actually. So I actually got a companion. Do that.
Yes!
So this skin was added in because of the donations at AGDQ during the prey run that Lifelike did. And we
That
usually,
was so fun.
we usually don't get to change the operator just because it takes some time. Also, did I just get stuck? Let's see. There we go. Unstuck.
I panicked, and you did not panic at all.
Yeah, it kind of happens a lot. You can either drop something, which will like go underneath you and push you up, or you can kind of force close the game and reopen it, and it'll get you out. So we're going to repair the portal. Unfortunately, we need to come in and hack the portal. Oh, this is getting crazy. Boop. But you can't hack the portal until you have Claire later on, which is why we're rushing her story with VJ as well. So go ahead and leave this place. So while we're doing the setup for that, doing her story, we also need to be setting up her escape, so we need anti-rads again. We're also going to check where the escape pod is, which is Claire's escape later on. Moonworks, that's really bad luck. And then let's see, Moonworks and Koranix, okay.
I feel like you've had more good luck than bad luck, though, so far.
Yeah, I mean, luck really doesn't matter too much in terms of those things. It just kind of costs you a minute here or there. So even though Moonworks is bad luck, that's maybe 45 seconds gone at the most. So if you're going for a record or something like that, it can matter. But for a run like this, it really doesn't, which is great.
It's good. Takes the pressure off.
So now we're going to go over to Koranix and do her story, which she has one of the cooler animations to start her story off. I think Claire's is a little bit better, but hers is pretty good too. So because we're coming in through the tram, we can go for a trick, which is really not one I enjoy doing. It's a little finicky, but it saves some time, so we'll go for it. So Joan has the ability to summon a turret, and you can pick up that turret and move it around. This is why I'm not too big of a fan of it. Okay. Oh. The turret got unsummoned. All right, that's fine. We can just run around. Basically, it just lets you jump up a little bit earlier. So we can't actually open this door because we don't have any spare parts. We used them all to repair the portal, which is why I bring in so many guns that we can just go ahead and dismantle for spare parts. They're really cheap. That guy still wants to attack me.
Rude.
And then because I didn't jump up through the vent, the door up here might also be broken, which is why I bring in an extra 3. Usually it's not, but just in case, it's nice to have, so. I'm just gonna gently pull it out. I don't know what it is with this game and eye stuff, but
There's a lot of eye stuff, it's true. I think it's actually gotten me over my phobia of like eye stuff. Now I'm like, it's fine, stick a needle in there, I don't care.
yeah, contacts kind of did that for me.
Well, yes, that too.
I've gotten pretty used to touching my eye. So at this point, we're supposed to go find Brian, who has been turned into a phantom, and then you fight him. We're gonna do a little save. Once you kill him, you get the key card for his room, which is back here in Crew Annex, and then you can pick up what we need. But because this is a speed run and we like to go fast, we're gonna skip going to find Brian. We're just gonna go right into his room. And I'm doing this save exit because there's no saves in this game. So if this goes wrong or I get stuck, I can actually kind of come back to this. That did not work out too well. Fortunately, objects are a little finicky at times. Okay, there we go. And we're not done yet, but I appreciate it. So right over here is Brian's room. Now we need to get back in. Hey, there we go. All right, cool. And It's usually a thing I end up forgetting is I will grab that statue, which you need to repair the statue in Moonworks. But I usually end up forgetting to put it on the statue in Moonworks, which is very bad. So hopefully I don't forget it this time. Just gonna double check some things here real quick. So these are our chasm orders that we need to complete. We have one character to unlock the different escapes, the stories, which we're doing one now, and then just down here. I check that from time to time to kind of see where I am, where I'll get cutscenes. Because at this point, it does kind of affect which characters we bring in. So now we're gonna go over to Moonworks. So we're gonna get a cutscene after this point, but if we didn't, we'd bring in VJ directly after this instead of going to Riley. There's a whole bunch of those little route changes you kind of have to get familiar with. There's some more you could add in, but at that point you'd be memorizing 2 entire routes for the game, and it's really stupid real fast. So that's our story done. Now we're gonna go do the mass driver escape, which we did with VJ earlier. So we're gonna pick up our food. Head on up.
I'm just like completely in awe of this, to the point where I don't even realize that I'm not talking or helping you at all. I'm just gonna watch this, that's fine.
Usually I don't even realize I'm playing until I actually have to think about what I'm doing.
It's like muscle memory.
It's muscle memory and thinking like 4 steps ahead of making sure I have what I need for certain characters and not overdoing it. So unfortunately for Joan, we didn't find the propulsion system fabrication plan, so we don't have it. We're gonna have to kill some stuff. I'm actually gonna EMP past this gate. Hoping that would kill him off. So unfortunately the Phantoms are within range of this computer, which will make it unusable. Even though we EMP past the gate, we still have to kill him off. So I've been poking my head in there because there's 2 neuromods that can potentially spawn, which are nice to get, but not really essential. So much like VJ, we're just gonna head down and get an escape. But right before I leave, we're gonna start using the operator. So I'm just doing this so I don't break my legs.
Again, out of context.
So we're actually just gonna go ahead and drop some extra stuff. Okay, 701. I did not want to go over. So it's something that isn't really worth mentioning, but I'm sure someone that plays Prey a lot may bring it up, that I'm not using the transfer item button, which is a hotkey that you can use to transfer items between 2 menus. I use ESDF for my movement instead of WASD. So W being my interact, if I use it on that screen, it'll transfer something, but it'll also move the cursor up, which is really weird. So
There's your friend.
it's flying through space with me.
Just love it.
So once again, we should be pulled out of this. Yep. So this is actually one of the bigger cutscenes and simulation changes. Because it's going to not only shut down the power to the tram at some points, but it'll also shut down the power to an entire area.
I'm very sorry you're waking up to this. I have engineering here. They say not to worry. Damage to oxygen systems is minor.
We're also going to float around here for a little bit.
Longer than you need.
While they feed you sweet lies
Probably the more annoying bit at the moment.
about how okay everything is, even though you don't have oxygen.
We don't really need oxygen anymore.
It is overrated.
So one of the few times that we'll actually have to use zero gravity in this. If you've played through the base game of Prey, you may remember Guts, or the whole external of Talos 1, which is all zero gravity. This is about the only time you see that, besides the ending, which maybe even then you won't see it. So just kind of repairing the ship.
Well, it's just a bit cold
I talk. Get some more backstory.
He signed up for this. He's a hacker. Sneak doesn't fit the same job, right? So he's probably lived twice as long working for us as he would have otherwise.
So if you do jumps when you're crouched through there, you just go a little bit faster. You can spam through it.
At least their future will be decent.
We got some nice toys here to deal with.
Module 13, they're going to be fine.
Why are they toilet toys?
I think his facial expression just works perfectly for it. So
He doesn't already know.
something you can just play some
Yeah.
basketball.
Oh wait, also I have toilet paper for you, by the way.
Oh, you do?
I do. It's Prey toilet paper.
Wow.
It's for you. I mean, not right this second, because that would cause problems. But it's sitting here, waiting for you. It says, TranStar kindly reminds you to flush thoroughly, so you know.
Oh, wow. I will remember that. Unfortunately, we don't have a basketball hoop. I couldn't bring one in.
I'll just throw it at one of these really beautiful lights.
Is this on? Module 13. Hello?
So at this point in the story, things kind of go a bit crazy. You don't know who you can trust, if you can trust anyone at all. But for us, we're just going to do what we do. This is the first time we're going to be using Riley, who doesn't do a whole lot for this in the run, but she's pretty important. Once again, just trying to remember exactly what I need, and then should be good on that. Because we now have the opportunity to put stuff away in the operator between characters, we can keep things like neuromods or control modules, which a lot of characters will end up needing. So you kind of have to figure out exactly what you need in the beginning and then subtract what you already have. Or if you want to go for something extra with a different character, you have to figure all that out on the fly as well. Luckily, this is a pretty standard amount so far.
Hello. Ouch.
So this is one of the few times we're actually not going to clip out with the stool. It's crazy, I know, but...
Yeah, I'm like, this, I don't even recognize this anymore. I'm so used to the other way.
So the only times we actually run through here are with Riley. Both the times we come in with her. She needs to go to the power station in the middle of the crater. There's really no good way to clip out and then get back in bounds in the middle of the map. So coming through here actually spawns in the best character in the game, which is Moonshark.
Best character in the game, Moonshark.
So lovely.
I mean, he gives the tightest hugs.
Oh, yeah.
Just the tightest.
So I believe all the power is actually up, and we got luck in that regard, but because this is a marathon run, I'm gonna go double check it anyways. Better safe than sorry. We got the time. Yep, we're all good. So just like before, we're gonna check where the tram is down, so we got Pythias, which is pretty cool. It's the best one again. And then this tunnel has the chance of being blocked or cleared. Fortunately for us, it's blocked, which sounds weird, I know, but it allows us to use Mimic Matter, which is one of the coolest Typhon abilities in the game.
It's true.
And you just go on through.
You can be
Hey.
anything.
It can be anything. Maybe that stool.
Hey, now you can use yourself to clip.
Only it worked that way.
How helpful is that?
So the reason it's worthwhile to just go ahead and come to Pythias when the tram's down is because we have to repair the tram anyways, because once we go up and do what we need to in her office, we'll have to go find a body, which you can either spawn in Krianix or Moonworks. And because you're not sure which one it is, you need to have the tram up regardless. It's also going to help out for future characters. So once again, just kind of setting up things in the future. So if you have a donation to read, this would be a good time.
All right. Anonymous donated a teeny weeny $1,600.
What?
Their comment was just that this donation goes to unlock Cuphead Run. Thank you, Anonymous. It's so great.
Anonymous.
Well, there we go. So there are stairs to get up here, but for the most part, they're typically broken or there's a Typhon on it, so I just prefer to go up the side. A lot of things going on here. So some of those things are hard spawns, like the neuromods on her desk, which are nice to count on, but they're not always there.
This one freaks me out.
So at this point, this is why we need to scan the Weaver back on Andreas. So we're going to buy Phantom Genesis 2, and then make our way to the tram. So we got Kuranix, which is a lot nicer to deal with than Moonworks. A lot of the practice runs I did before I came to the event, I got Moonworks everything. And Moonworks has some good spawns, but it also has two of the worst. And they're just really annoying to do, so it's nice not to have to do them.
I feel bad for the corrupted operators.
I used to, but then I realized how hard they hit, how easy it is to die, so
Okay, fair.
I don't feel too bad anymore.
I just imagine that they used to be nice and do things for you, and now they hate you. It's terrible.
Luckily, the operator we have is not corrupted. He's pretty nice.
No, he's your friend.
Biohazard detected.
He lets you play dress up with him.
Unfortunately, the mimic that you get doesn't really come in handy in any way. It's fun to dress up some hats for him.
I like having a pet that I get to say is a mimic.
So he's over in the gym. We're gonna stand very far away from this body as we scan it. Just because I don't want to take the extra damage. So now we get to go back to Riley's office and start uploading her brain data, which is a little scary. Well, it's not too
I
bad.
don't. It makes me so uncomfortable. Which I mean is good. I like stories that like mess me up, but it messes me up.
Yeah, it's very weird to think about this from a practical standpoint of actually going inside the minds of these 5 characters and figuring out exactly what happened on the moon base. But, you know, we'll get there one day, I'm sure.
Most of it's upsetting.
Black Mirror's taught me anything. It's, we're in for a bad time.
And an interesting time.
So because we scanned that body, there's going to be a phantom. Oh, we'll take the stairs this time. Looks pretty clear. There's going to be a phantom spawned up here. I actually need to make sure I use this. So that purple thing I used is a delay loop, which I found, which is going to slow down the corruption.
Extremely useful.
Just make sure everything's clear because we've got to wait here for a little bit and then get inside this chair.
Before you launch that operator,
So I'm thinking we're just going to go ahead and store some stuff away.
you have the emulation tech Morgan was tinkering
Hey,
with.
buddy.
Use it.
It's your friend.
Copy yourself.
We actually have a bunch of stuff this time around. It's really nice.
I know it seems morbid, but we can't shrink from the reality that
So there's one thing I don't know if you noticed on Moon Crash Mondays,
Yes.
but if you happen to look at the floor and at these dots, they're not quite in straight lines.
Why would you tell me that? Oh no.
Yeah, so this is what I tend to do when stuck in places for a long time over and over. So I notice little things about floor patterns that are slightly off and
That's horrible. That's rude.
never be able to unsee it. Who's our operator keeping us company?
I know it makes it sadder because he's like singing as this is happening to you.
Minerva 465, data vault class operator.
Do-do-do, do-do.
Capture and transfer complete. Additional instructions found. Starting procedure. Erase u.bat.
So even in the future, they use batch files. And off we go. So that's Riley's preferred escape method, so that's going to unlock her story.
Preferred.
Well, that's what the game calls it.
Yeah, I know.
All right, so we're going to bring in VJ this time, and he actually doesn't need pretty much anything. We're going to buy him propulsion gen, which once again just makes him go faster. At this point, VJ's pretty much done. All you have to do is come in, clean up his story, and then we're actually going to take the shuttle out because we used Joan to the mass driver escape. We kind of flip-flop them here. Because her story ends in Moonwork, so it makes sense to go ahead and do mass driver there. And his story ends in Koreanix, right next to the shuttle. And we have both their stories unlocked at this point. It doesn't really matter. So back to the stool we go.
That's also funny. That's a funny sentence.
Let's go ahead and blast on over. So because we repaired the tram with Riley before, it's not going to be down. Double check that before I'm wrong. Okay. So we're just going to come straight over to Koreanix where his memory marker starts. If you have a donation, you can read it one now.
Okay, you're gonna like this, I think. Clinks donated $25, said, "Good morning, GDQ. So stoked to see bloodthunder run Prey Moon Crash, one of the best games of the year. #ad." Okay, so
Yay, Clink!
Couch, did you pay off Clinks or?
I didn't. Clink wishes he was here right now, and I also wish Clink was here right now.
Yeah, shout out to Clink and everyone that was on the Moon Crash Mondays team that couldn't be here.
That was a lot of people. We ended up having a lot of hosts.
Yeah, a pretty good variety. Some with beards, some without.
Beard Stream. We rely very heavily on one half of Beard Stream to help us with finishing up Moon Crash.
So anytime you see those pink brains, I think I tried to explain it before, but then I explained something else, which usually happens in this anytime I do a commentary run. Those pink brains are the memory marker, which is the start of the story. Kind of put you into an animation.
Officer Bhatia, this is Director Yu. Your men are being slaughtered. Where are you? It's not the Typhon. It's Claire Whitten.
Some good music.
She's a Chasma spy. She's been here long.
Unfortunately, you don't really get to hear the music in this game that much, besides like the ambient track in the background.
Do you understand?
A lot of good tunes if you just want to chill in that area.
By this right now.
I have a lot of love in my heart for Prey music.
I'm counting on you.
Okay. So let's go to Wayne Tram. If I was going at it.
When I first started, I listened to Semi-Sacred Geometry like on repeat to like really get me in the headspace. But then I just ended up completely obsessed with the song and would listen to it on repeat in my home.
I get it. Unfortunately, I didn't listen to it on repeat, but I probably should have.
You should have. It fixes your brain. Anything that could possibly be wrong fixes all of it.
Okay.
It's real nice.
I mean, that's probably what they should have learned at the moon bases.
Just keep playing it.
Yeah. There we go. This game has a little trouble when you first start in an area. It takes a second to boot up, so if you try to go fast, you may experience some difficulties. So this is Claire's hideout. She's actually trapped, or booby-trapped this computer, which if you just boost away from that, you actually don't get caught in it, which is really nice. You can avoid the whole poison quest line. And she also locks the door to this hideout. But if you've seen this,
By the time you hear this, I should be sitting nice and comfy.
run up to this point, you may have an idea of what I'm trying to do. Maybe.
Maybe.
You want to stay rested? Then listen up, my dream. That little
So the door will unlock at some point, once she's done with her dialogue. There we go.
I'm giving you the location of
If you want to get out just a little bit faster, get up here.
And also to avoid all of the really mean taunts she's saying to you.
Yeah, she's not a nice person.
No, not consistently.
So we actually do need to stay in this area until the quest updates, which is that there. So a little slow, but ultimately it doesn't really matter as long as you get up there fast. So now we're gonna go back to Crew Annex. Because we didn't get poisoned, we don't have to deal with that half of the story, which is nice. Because I don't even remember where that takes you at this point. We have to deal with the escape pod, whether we want to blow it up or not. We're actually going to disable the explosion because enabling it means you have to hit an extra OK box. So that's what determines whether Claire makes it off or not. Either way, you still unlock her character. It just go a little bit faster. Okay.
VJ?
So that's pretty much VJ's story, and since we're right next to the shuttle, like I said before, we're just gonna take it.
Like a good little boy to mop up the mess.
She does call us a good little boy, which is nice.
And she very much meant it.
Like sheep. Good boy. You made the right.
Just got a whole bunch of stuff there. All right. So once again, just gonna drop off some more
You managed to get off the moon alive? I'll look.
neuromods there. Hey, we gotta take the shuttle for a third time.
Oh, your mimic or your operator outside was so sad. Where are you going?
Yeah, sometimes when you're in this or like the mass driver and the door is closed, you can still hear the operator singing outside, which is kind of sad, but you know, he'll be fine.
I hadn't yet experienced that.
So at this point, we're going back to the satellite to get some more story. There's not a whole lot to really do here, so if you have another donation, you can go ahead and read.
Okay, we received a $15 donation from Melfice1, who said, "Shoutouts to my bestest buddy Felix, who's watching this run with me via Discord. Let's pray the run doesn't moon crash and burn. But before we go, tell us one thing about the game we don't know yet."
I'll tell you one thing.
All
Your
right.
puns are great. But we already knew that.
There you go, Melfice1.
That was a fantastic comment.
But if you finish what the company is asking you
So you just mess around while they talk a little bit. Just chill up here.
They've got a lot to say.
But if you don't trust me,
It's actually a really interesting story. It's just once you've gotten to the point where you've seen this dozens and dozens and even hundreds of times.
Hundreds.
I don't know if I'm quite at hundreds, but I'm
You actually might
pretty
be.
close.
I would not. That was not me doubting you. That was me like, yeah, probably.
Okay. There's kind of a delay after they stop talking and when you can actually get back into the simulation, but it is what it is. Also, I love these intros and loading screens. So now we're gonna play as Claire, who needs just a couple things. I'm pretty sure I've got most of this stuff already in there. Just double checking.
Like if you couldn't already guess that she's evil, look at her lighting.
She may be evil, but she spawns as one of the coolest weapons, which is the psychostatic cutter, and it's just awesome.
She is super fun to play. The evil ones kind of tend to be.
So much like VJ, she actually does have the ability to get mobility, and you can buy mobility too, which we're pretty much going to do. She runs insanely fast, which is really, really nice. It's one of those things you forget how fast it is until you start playing as a character that doesn't have it. So we also bought Hacking 2, because once you get to Corruption 2, you need Hacking 2 at this point. That's the way the corruption works is whatever the corruption level is at, that's what you need to repair doors or to hack into something. So 2 and 2, 3 and 3, that kind of stuff. And hey, back here.
I don't know how I'm like surprised every time you do that, but every time I'm a little bit like, oh right, that's what you're doing.
Okay.
Oh hey.
So it's actually not too bad of a slide. Typically if you clip in, it's not ideal because you're much slower running than you are sliding. You also have to EMP this gate to get into Pythes Labs. But Claire is one of the few exceptions where it's not really a big deal at all. So we're just gonna drop one of these control modules we have, pull it up, and away we go. So all we're doing with Claire is coming in to hack into the portal for Andreas, which is the 5th and final character we're gonna bring in after this. It's also the thing we repaired with Joan earlier on. And once we do that, we're gonna head to the escape pod, which will unlock your story. And then from there, it's just basically cleaning up the rest of the stories.
How did this? We took 9 months, Blood Thunder. 9 months.
It was 9 months?
Give or take, I guess. A little under.
Nice little hacking puzzle. It was actually really nice. All right. So we've done that. Now, if I believe I'm right in remembering, our escape pod is over in Moonworks. Which, since we got a cutscene, the tram could have gone down, and it didn't, which is nice. Otherwise, we'd just run through the crater over to Moonworks, but taking the tram's a little bit faster.
I think Shape in the Glass calculated it took about 22 game hours.
22. I mean, that's not too bad.
I don't believe you at all. I appreciate your kindness.
I think my first playthrough of this took me about 15 hours to do.
That's like, you know, somewhat, that's reasonable. That's like around the time it should take. But you also had never played it before, and we had played it several times.
Well, the thing I love about this, and coming into it as a speedrunner who's done many games before, is you have to do a lot of routing to figure out which characters to bring in when, and how they all fit together in certain pieces. And that's what I love about speedrunning anyways, is taking a game and figuring out exactly what you need to do in it. So it was just that ideal situation for me where
That's awesome.
I just couldn't put it down once I picked it up.
Well, that's a very high compliment. Yeah, it took us a while. But the nice thing was that it gave us a lot of opportunities to just like hang out with people who would come see us every single week and hang out with fans who were just like, we kind of just want to hang out with you. I was like, good, I also just want to hang out with you. So that was extremely positive.
Yeah, the whole Prey community, the people on Reddit,
Yeah.
people in the Discord, the speedrunning Discord, pretty much anyone in any of those places are just great.
Just unbelievably lovely human beings. I'm very lucky I get to be the community manager.
So that's Claire's preferred escape. Just get on an escape pod and leaving. It's pretty nice.
Cushy.
And now for one of the faster characters we're going to get through. So the things I'm bringing in with him are simply, in case what happens last time with Claire happens again, where he slides into the actual base, back in bounds, and at the EMP past the gate. Otherwise, we're just going to clip out with the stool again, slide over the Pythes again, run to the escape pod again, or the Mimic portal, and escape. And this will complete the 5-man escape.
That's awesome.
Pretty close to being done with the bulk of the orders. There's still a few we have to deal with. Yeah, unfortunately, the speedrunning community for this game is not too big. There are a handful of runners. But if you're looking to get into it, definitely hop in the Discord. Feel free to ask questions. I mentioned I do have notes, and I have them written up in a text file and hosted online for anybody that is looking to run it. I did have a tutorial at one point, but that was several months ago when the route was a little different. So I'll probably have to make a new one sometime soon.
You were also so helpful when we would have, like, we would run into some issues. Like, have you considered this? Oh, no. Oops.
Yeah, there's a lot of little things you can kind of pick up, like control modules being used as EMP is a pretty big one that a lot of people don't know about.
Yep.
And just having a source of EMP in the run is such a huge advantage. Otherwise, you have to find like a disruptor stun gun or just kill all the Typhon, which can take a long time, especially if you get up to like Corruption 4, Corruption 5. And it can just be a real mess.
Everything starts to disintegrate.
So now we're in Pythias. All we have to do, like I said, is run to the Mimic portal, open it up, and go out and escape. So if you have a donation you want to read.
Okay, why not $50 from an Arcane dev who says, we're all watching you from our desks here in Austin. Wish we were there. Go, go, AGDQ.
Yay! Thank you so much, wonderful Arcane.
I have another $50 here from the engineer you left outside who says, what are you doing, Dave? Are you leaving me here in space alone?
Unfortunately, we are.
And just one more, $500 from LFQ Soon. Thank you so much. Their comments just toilet paper percent speed run.
That's true. That's awesome. Thank you.
So we're going to go back. This is one of the last cutscenes we're going to get. There is another cutscene you can, but we kind of route the orders to be done in a certain way at this point to avoid that. Because if you have just one Chasma order left, it'll throw you back here and say, hey, you're doing a good job, but you have one thing left to do. But if you have two things left, you don't get that, and then if you complete both in that last run, you can skip over it. Here we're going to repair the oxygen. This is something that a lot of people, at least that have watched my stream, don't know exists. At the end of the game, the oxygen kind of goes crazy, and you're supposed to pick up this helmet, which you're charging up. And since I never do that, people just don't know it exists. And I actually showed it off like right before I left here, because I saw it on the Moon Crash Monday streams. Because, like I said, I didn't even know it existed.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
It kind of blew my mind. So.
Yeah, shout out to Chris Martinez, who's our QA lead for Moon Crash, who took care of the 5-man run right before the holidays. It was beautiful.
It's one of those things watching, it's like doing the 5-man, it's when you get to that 5th character and the corruption's up and you're low on supplies, it's just so tense and so much fun to watch.
It was a very tense time. I think we did it in under, I think about an hour and a half, I think, maybe just under 2 hours.
See, that's not too bad.
Yeah, that was fine. I mean, I had the QA lead do it, but he did it perfectly.
Yeah, I know a lot of runners kind of have poked fun at QA for missing certain things, but a lot of this stuff, like flipping with the stool, is we're purposely going out of our way to break this game, and it's not stuff that QA is looking for, and they overall do a great job of making sure the game's playable, which is nice. It's not crashing constantly or anything like that, so.
Shout out to QA, hardcore.
Much respect for them. So we're actually not going to use the stool. Once again, we're Riley, so we're just going to run to the power station, make sure the power's on, and then we're going to check where the tram is down once again. So down in Moonworks, that's really good. We're not going to repair the tram with this character, but it will play a pretty crucial part for Claire when we come back in the second time. Because at this point, there's 2 routes that Claire can potentially go. There's her normal way of doing her story, and then there's kind of a reverse way. And the reverse way is really obnoxious to do. So luckily, we didn't get that. There's Moonshark again.
Why don't you give it a hug?
If this doesn't kill him, I was actually planning on it. So.
Okay, good. Excellent.
Unfortunately, this has a tendency to kill the Moonshark.
We try not to kill the Moonshark.
I try to give it a warning, but it never listens.
It's a brat.
It just wants the hug. That's all it knows.
It's all it's ever known in its Moonshark life.
I'm kind of hoping for a Moonshark DLC. I don't know if that's something you can talk about.
I could laugh about it. Take that as you will.
So once again, this is our memory marker. Luckily, it just happens to be at the power station, so we don't have to go too far. And then to complete the memory marker, all we have to do is activate one of these EMP beacons.
I think we're...
We're
Benson,
just gonna do that.
you're new, aren't you?
Well,
Of course you are.
So let's see.
Your shuttle arrived on December 3rd.
So once this goes off, it kind of kills all the Typhon in the area.
Before that, you worked as an adjunct on various
Moonshark didn't. Okay. Where is he?
None of which
Yeah.
entitles you to address me in such a familiar way.
I didn't mean...
It's Madam Director or Dr.
show up?
Yu. Choose one.
Yes, Doc.
So I joke a lot when I watch Moon Crash Mondays that they never hug the Moonshark. So it's a little payback. Give him a nice hug.
Thanks. I needed to see the sharing of love and affection between human and Moonshark.
Yeah, we just got hugged to death, which may seem odd that I died there, but we actually don't need to do any escapes at this point because we just did the 5-man, and every character before this has already escaped at least once. And if you die in a certain area, you'll respawn there. So if you die in Moonworks, the next character you bring in will spawn in Moonworks, which is typically how we handle Claire. But because I like hugging the Moonshark, and it's a marathon run to show it off, we'll just run back through the crater real quick.
Some of my favorite dialogue was Riley correcting Benson, be like, "Excuse me, I am Dr. Yu." And I was like, "Yes, you are."
That's usually the moment people either love her or hate her.
Oh, so much love. Immediate, unrelenting love.
Once again, I'm just going to EMP past the gate, run into Moonworks, and get to her memory marker. Luckily, she has mobility too, so she runs really, really fast. But I don't have propulsion, so if I get a little crazy, I might break my legs, which hopefully doesn't happen.
If you go crazy, you might break your legs.
If any kids out there are watching, that's a life lesson for you.
Don't go crazy, you might break your legs. It'll sound like aliens eating chips.
Well, that might encourage them if you tell them that part.
Oh no! I forget how children work.
So we're going back over to Claire's hideout, which makes sense that her memory marker's there. And we got a nice little animation to start this off.
Claire, this is Basilisk. Orbital intercept M13 tells us there is elevated activity on all Trans-Star security channels. We think you've been
Now that he's dead,
We need you to
we can pick up that transponder, and then there's 2 listening devices that we have to go find. One is in crew annex, and the other one is in the power station, which we're in with Riley. So at this point, this is where she could just take the tram, or if needed, run back through crater and go in that way, which is a little bit worse. But we just have to wait on this tram and then kind of run through some stuff. So if you have a donation you want to read?
Okay, Vampiric Savior gave us $20 and said, donating to support BT in a great cause. Just remember, space is cold, business is cold, and other memorable lines that can't be read aloud in public.
Yeah, there's a lot of great lines in this that when I do streams at home, I like to pretty much say every time. It never gets old. So at this point, we need to head upstairs to Alex's office, and you may have remembered me trying to jump up here with the turret earlier. Luckily, because we have mobility 2, we can just make that jump flat out, which is really nice. I'm just gonna go ahead and hack into the safe.
I sometimes catch myself saying, "Good morning, Morgan," to people who have no idea what I'm talking about. They're like, "My name's Alex." I'm like, "Oh, sorry."
It's Morgan now.
Yes.
You heard what I said.
You have a son in the AIL, is that right?
Yes, sir. That's right.
You must be proud of him.
So all we have to do,
Maybe we can find a
EMP out of this again.
Star security team one.
I'm actually just gonna grab this other one just in case. A little backup. I think that Mimic wanted a hug too.
Straight to it. I like that about you, VJ.
So something I didn't really talk about is the different types
What would you make
of
of
Typhon. Some have kind of like elemental properties, some are voltaic, so they have lightning, or they're thermal, so they have fire. And voltaics are just absolutely annoying to deal with.
They can really Kick one's patootie.
If you have propulsion, you get hit with the voltaic, it'll actually shut that down so you can't escape too well. You just have to run away. And if they decide to chase you, you may end up dead pretty quickly. Most of the others aren't too bad. Etheric, thermals. They're okay.
Moon sharks are great.
Oh, moon sharks are the best. Luckily, there's no voltaic moon sharks.
Oh no. That would be terrible. And beautiful.
So this is the last listening device we need, and we actually have to recycle them.
No.
So it's nice that that's right there.
Am I that obvious?
So what we're gonna do now is head into Pythias, and we need to drop off something
All right, Claire. We've learned that Director
for Riley. So
planning to duplicate her personal.
we have another donation or two. You can do them now.
Okay, here is that Frenchie guy with a $20 donation. Says, "Hi, Blood Thunder. I love Prey a lot due to the atmosphere building, and I had to donate during my favorite game. Shout out to Mimics."
Yeah, shout out to Mimics.
Here's a Big Sis 25 with a $50 donation. Said, "Had to donate during Blood Thunder's run. You're one of my favorite runners, and glad to see Prey DLC being ran. Good luck."
Aw, that was so nice.
Yeah, I appreciate the kind words. I think Vampiric, you said earlier, donated, and it was pretty good. Okay, just want to make sure you got there. Pretty good friend, long-time viewer, so it's cool.
This is extremely heartwarming. Really enjoying my time here.
So all that scary noise and visuals is the corruption going up. I don't know if it happened earlier. I've kind of spaced out. But yeah, so things can like respawn at this point in areas I've killed enemies. Luckily at this point, it really doesn't matter. So we're gonna check our chasm orders one more time. Okay. So the character after this is gonna be Andreas, and he's gonna come in to wrap things up. So before I get to him, I wanna make sure I actually have everything I need. Took a bit of fall damage there, but luckily it's not broken legs. Not this time.
You're on your own. Basilisk out.
So this part seems really weird with what I'm about to do, but I'm gonna leave Pythias and I'm gonna come right back to it. Because for her story to be considered over, you have to escape Pythias Labs. You can either go out through the tram or through the crater. But as I mentioned earlier, if you die in a certain area, you respawn as the next character in that area. And it's best if Andrew spawns in Pythias. So as soon as we leave and complete the story, we're gonna head back in and kill off Claire so we can bring in Andreas.
Kill her off. Like a favorite TV show character.
Who's your favorite TV show character?
Who's my favorite TV show character? Blair Waldorf.
Okay.
That means very little to most people, I think, watching this. But yeah, no, I don't regret that decision. How about you? Who's your favorite TV show character?
All of them.
All of them? I had to pick one.
I didn't say you had to pick one.
Oh, okay, that's true. You didn't specify that I had to pick one.
So, because I checked my chasm orders, I know what I need to finish off here. The things we leave for last are scanning the 5 Typhons. So we scanned 2 earlier, and then we scanned an extra 1 with Riley when we need to do our quest. So we still need 2 more of those. We could do that earlier, but as I mentioned, if you just have 1 chasm order left, which could just be his story, then you get that extra cutscene. But now it's time to meet my kid. It's a little shocking because I'm kind of young, but I do have a kid, and he's so beautiful.
Who's that?
Yeah.
Look at the hair. It's lovely. Oh, he's so scary. He's so scary.
Okay, Papa?
And if you look behind my kid, you can actually see our operator as well. Just chilling out there.
Hello. I'm full of your stuff.
So this telepath is telling us that we need to go find a toy and bring it back to the escape pod, which is our objective for this. So the toy, like before, can either spawn in Moonworks or Career Annex. If it spawns in Career Annex, that's generally a decent time. Moonworks can be hit or miss. Some are really good, some are really bad. But this, you can go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, but you can't be a bad papa. That's the one thing you're not allowed to do in this
Right.
story situation.
So that memory marker also does two very unique things. It bumps our corruption level up to 4, regardless of where we are, which is real fun. It makes everything a little harder. And it also makes all the Typhon passive to us, so they're not going to attack me anymore, which makes it really easy to get scans, so I've actually got that one already. Unfortunately, because it's corruption 4, the operators are very, very dangerous. I actually didn't catch where that spawned. Moonworks, okay. To this point, I don't need anything, but if I could find a med kit or some food, it'd be great. There we go. Just in case I need it. One other mechanic of this game, which isn't too important until now, is whenever you die, if you happen to die, your body will turn into a phantom. This might work. So if I died immediately coming back to Pythias with Claire, I could just put a phantom right in the path and just block the way and take up a whole lot of time. So that's why I ran out to the wall before killing off that character.
I like if you happen to die. It's like, you're gonna die.
It's actually not too bad of a spawn.
Yeah, so these are like hazards that pop out. With corruption levels being what they are.
And although the Typhon are passive, if you start killing them, your kid gets mad because he's friends with the Typhon,
Yep.
being a Typhon himself, which is something a lot of people don't really realize at first. And they'll just start killing Typhon indiscriminately, and then that stuff happens.
Yeah, and then you're told that you're a bad papa, and then you feel like, oh God, am I a bad papa? I guess I am.
Yeah. So I could just EMP past that gate, but I just wanted to check up there for an extra med kit. Oh. Got some broken bones.
Crunch, 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 crunch.
Ooh. Very close to dying. This could be bad.
I believe in you.
Remember, just pretend it's Moonshark eating some potato chips, and
Yum, 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 yum.
we'll make it through this.
We weren't kidding.
It's pretty bad. It's not intentional, I promise.
Liar.
Unfortunately, it also slows down your character. So if you have something like mobility 2, you'll run about normal speed. And if you have normal speed, you go incredibly slow, which is very unfortunate.
The chat is just full of the Doritos chip emote.
Inaccurate.
Okay. So I'm gonna pick up some food, just in case we need it.
That's okay, you could just chew on your bones.
Yeah. It's even worse when you jump. Pretty much all we have to do is get to the escape pod at the end of Pythias Labs and give our son his toy. Be a good papa, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Hopefully our kid becomes a doctor when he grows up.
So we can fix our legs.
flooding and electrical damage detected.
Only 120 meters to go.
They're just like a sack of gravel.
Usually this area is just completely filled with operators. I don't even know what happened there. Or tentacle nest or phantoms of some kind. So it's really nice for them not to be there when I'm slowed down like this.
Nest messed me up.
Because this floor is electrified, it's just kind of a random thing that happens. Took us a safe way over. We'll take that. If we had gotten really, really lucky, we could have gotten a skeletal repair kit. But, you know, kind of liking the sound now.
I'm not liking the sound of that. Actually, I kind of do. Am I broken?
Also, even though the Typhon really don't get aggressive, the cystoid nest still will attack you, which is kind of weird. That was just a disaster. So instead of having to play the whole character over and doing the story, what I did there is I force quit the game, and it's going to take us back to the last checkpoint. So all I have to do is wait for this to load up, which luckily I disabled the intro screen, so it goes a little bit faster.
Well, the physics were phenomenal.
It's a great ragdoll.
It's so good.
So the bad news is we lost a little bit of time. The good news is we get to listen to the crunching a little bit more.
Yay!
So the way the checkpoints work in this is typically the last area you entered is where the game will checkpoint. So if you don't ever confirm that you've died or chosen a new character, you'll just spawn back where you entered an area, which for us was the tram. And this time we know it's ahead of us. It's not going to change. Be a little safer. So if you want to read some donations, now's a good time. Cover up this crunching sound.
Maybe.
We had Alex Yu chiming in with $25 saying, Morgan, it's Alex. We're getting a feed from our moon base. Must be some new kind of Typhon. No human could move like that. Here's $25 for additional testing.
I love that. You're a Typhon.
Game Quoter donated $35 and said, waking up from a late night of work to see Prey Moon crash is what I call perfect timing. And for Abigail, hi, Mr. Tyson's class.
Hi, Mr. Tyson's class. That was a thing I used to say on a different stream because my dad would show our stream to his students in his math class.
Oh, yeah? That's pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really not appropriate. And so usually whenever we would say like the worst thing that we would probably say on the stream, that's when we'd be like, hi.
Saber3999 donated $100, said first-time donator. My mother was diagnosed with stage 4B pancreatic cancer a year ago today. We've been lucky and she has beaten the odds so far, but it's been a struggle, and the question is when, not if, the odds will catch up. After her diagnosis, I threw myself into Prey. It reminded me of my #1 favorite game, System Shock 2, and helped me deal with the horrible prognosis. I'm proud to donate to PCF, as early detection really is crucial. Here's $100 to keep the fight going. Thank you, Saber.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much.
So at this point, we are a good papa, which I know is a little mind-blowing.
That was so well timed.
Actually, didn't do the last thing I needed. Look at that. I got so distracted by the bone crunching, I actually forgot to scan extra Typhon.
Who needs it?
So now they're gonna be a little aggressive, which is just fine. Oh, can't. Here, we'll just grab a nest real quick. He wants to also needed to do. So I actually still need an extra neuromod or two. Fortunately for us, I never looted at Riley's office. I think. Maybe I did.
You know, you have blown my mind so many times at this point, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, actually I did. That's just okay.
Sorry about the distraction, but you know, chips are addicting, so.
So remember that the one chasm order cutscene I said we were going to get? Yeah, we kind of got it.
You're so close. Also,
Why not show it off?
you're a... I panic so hard in games, and you just... You don't.
It's all a facade. It's in here.
I don't believe you. I think you're just fine.
But once it's done, your contract is fulfilled. You'll have no further.
So we have all the escapes done, all the stories done. All we need is an extra neuromod or two. So all we have to do is basically just buy a whole bunch of neuromods for a character and go in.
Make sure you're ready. For your last order, I mean.
Which character are you doing?
That's all I wanted.
Whoever's still up, which I might have to do a new simulation for. Find out in just a second.
We'll find out so soon.
I believe Joan's still up and kicking. Load in one last time.
One last time.
There we go.
Yeah.
Perfect. Just buy a whole bunch.
Because why not? You have so many sim points. You're gonna do it.
Hopefully. I've come this far.
I have so much faith. All of it is in you.
Oh. There we go. All we have to do is load. Double check this one last time. There we go.
What?
Boop.
You just did it.
Now we're gonna go back to the satellite for one last cutscene. Hopefully there's a jump I can get. It's a little tricky, but we'll find out. So now all 27 orders are done. All we have to do is kind of deal with the fact that we're not getting the job after all.
Yeah, they're jerks.
So I have to grab the key from this, which you really don't want to forget. And eventually low gravity will kick on, or zero gravity will kick on. And, you can fly up here, or you can just jump.
Peter, we've never spoken. I'm the OC at Casma Corp overseeing.
We have to decommission this.
Basilisk reports to me.
Zoom out a little bit.
You've done brilliant work for us. Thank you.
Time's coming up here very soon.
But it's a tight, we just can't afford to pick you up.
And time.
Oh my God. That was incredible. That was amazing.
Also, because we got to the end faster than the dialogue is kind of expecting, this message just gets stuck on the screen. So here's the doll that I lost earlier. I was trying to mess around with in the beginning.
Brown.
So if you're ever wondering, this is on the moon, but why is it called Moon Crash?
Because of
Gotta make sure you grab the doll. And I do want to give some shout outs to some people who helped get me here with fun. So shout outs to all the people showing them there before the credits. And there is actually a little stinger at the end, so we'll show that off as well. Oh, there's two. Double the fun. Well, that is Prey's Mooncrash DLC. I hope you guys enjoyed. And thanks so much to Abigail for being here. And shout outs to the team who made this and everyone on Mooncrash Mondays that couldn't be here. It's incredibly fun to play and so grateful to have a chance to show it off as well. So.
Thank you. Oh my God. You're incredible.
And once again, if anybody wants to learn this run, hop in the speedrunning Discord. If you want the notes, you can just message me and I can send you a link to them. Or if any questions at all about this run, feel free to message me. But thank you.
One more time for Blood Thunder, everyone. That was Prey Mooncrash. Here's one donation I didn't have a chance to get around to. It was Dissidents383, whose name you may have seen in the special thanks right there at the end. They donated $100, said, here's some fuel for the run. Better late than never, right? Yeah, thank you. I finally got around to that. I appreciate it. We've got Hierarchy with a $50 donation saying, I love the main Prey game, but I never got a chance to play Mooncrash. I should look into doing that. Bad joke time. This game might be named Prey, but you're clearly hunting for quick completion. Thanks, Hierarchy. Up next, we have an any percent run of Dishonored Death of the Outsider by Metro72. And following that up will be King Dime bringing us Ultimate Doom any percent. And then, of course, Doom 2 Hell on Earth, again by Dime. Speaking of Doom, I don't know if anyone on the tech crew or the audio guy can hear me right now, but some of my favorite music, Fred, that we play during these break intermissions is from the Doom 2016 soundtrack. I hope they work some of those tracks in there before I get off the microphone. It'd be so great. Here is a $25 donation from Infernal Translator who says, can't wait to see the Mexican gamer destroy Cuphead somehow faster than in SGDQ 2018. This is a good day for a swell battle. Thanks, Infernal Translators. Mexican runner, TMR. Yeah, we'll be running Cuphead if we meet the incentive. You guys have been doing fantastic work on that. I think we've gained over $10,000 toward that incentive while I've been on shift here reading your donation comments. Again, it's later tonight. Setup Block 4 is currently on the schedule, but if you want to replace that with an all S plus P grades run of Cuphead by the Mexican runner, just put your donations in toward that incentive now. $35 from Moldy Sandwich. They said, I'm pumped for this about this Prey Mooncrash run and hoping to hit that Cuphead incentive. Oh yeah, here's a couple older donations I really wanted to read. So a while back, we had $100 from the Akuma who said, longtime watcher, first time donator, just wanted to see this Cuphead run, so make it happen. Greetings from Germany. And then I also have a $250 donation from the Akuma, who says, longtime watcher, first time donator. Just want to see that Cuphead run, so let's do it.